In a universe on the verge of chaos, a group of brave humans faces ancient reptilian overlords with overwhelming technology. A battle for survival ignites, testing courage and willpower in a clash that could rewrite destinies. Will human resilience triumph against the odds? Ethical dilemmas emerge, challenging what it means to fight for survival. Choose morality or existence? If you want to dive into real stories of parallel realities every day, in enigmatic, technological worlds that are completely different from our planet, subscribe to our channel and leave your like. Well, let's go. In a universe teetering on the brink of chaos, a clash between ancient reptilian overlords and a resilient band of humans could unravel destinies. If you think humans are doomed against superior alien technology, think again. Can the will to survive outshine overwhelming force? Stay until the end to discover an epic tale of courage, betrayal, and explosive revelation that will keep you on the edge of your seat. The gathering storm. In the heart of Loia's capital, tension crackled like electricity in the air. The sprawling cityscape, once a beacon of prosperity, lay under the baleful gaze of the Bajoran Empire's reptilian overlords. At the forefront stood Commander Fenris, his scales glistening under the twin suns, confident in their supremacy. Tall and imposing, Fenris was a vision of calculated menace. His scales, a dark emerald green, glistened under the radiant glow of the twin suns. Each of his movements exuded a predatory grace, a hunter basking in the certainty of his superiority. The air around him seemed to shimmer with an ominous aura, a silent testimony to the ruthlessness that lay beneath his calm exterior. His eyes, cold and calculating, carried the weight of countless battles won. The intricacies of Bajoran battle armor clung to his form, its iridescent sheen reflecting the towering skyscrapers of Loia's once thriving capital. His piercing gaze fell upon the humans, a melding of disdain and intrigue. How had these frail beings managed to survive for so long under the Bajoran heel? The question was more a curiosity than a genuine inquiry. Deep inside, Fenris held a grudging respect for their tenacity, though it did nothing to quell his contempt. The air thrummed with the hum of Bajoran war machines, an eerie symphony of impending doom. The ground shook under the weight of their mechanical behemoths, every step echoing like a drumbeat of war. Fenris, standing imperiously, boomed his ultimatum. Humans, surrender or face annihilation. His voice echoed, mingling with the anxious whispers of onlookers. The command resonated through the city square, instilling a profound silence as its final reverberations faded into the wind. Opposite him, under the shadow of his formidable presence, stood Commander Greg Adams. Tall and muscular, with a chiseled jawline and piercing blue eyes, Adams was the epitome of human resilience. His graying hair bore witness to the years of relentless warfare he had endured, yet his posture conveyed an air of defiance untainted by surrender. The uniform he wore, a tattered yet proud symbol of the human resistance, contrasted starkly with the Bajoran scales and high-tech armor. Every scar on his face told a tale of survival against overwhelming odds. Behind him, the ragtag group of human soldiers mirrored his determination. A mixture of men and women, their eyes spoke volumes of the battles fought and the comrades lost. Their presence was a testament to the human spirit, unbroken despite the relentless Bajoran oppression. This was not just a battle for territory but a fight for existence. The humans stood firm, their resolve as unyielding as the granite cliffs surrounding the city. The air was thick with anticipation, poised on the edge of an impending storm, the first drops of which had already begun to fall. The cityscape around them, once a marvel of architectural prowess, now appeared desolate under the heavy weight of occupation. Tall spires and glass towers had succumbed to decay and neglect, with only remnants of their former glory hinting at what once was. Streets that once buzzed with the hustle and bustle of everyday life now lay eerily silent, punctuated only by the distant sounds of machinery and the occasional whisper of the wind. As Fenris's ultimatum rang out, it reverberated through the winding streets and darkened alleyways, carrying with it a sense of impending doom. Yet, even amidst the foreboding clamor, there lay a sliver of hope, a defiant spark that refused to be extinguished. The onlookers, civilians who had once thrived in this city now reduced to mere spectators in this grand conflict, watched with bated breath. Their eyes darted between the imposing figure of Fenris and the stalwart stance of Commander Adams, a silent prayer echoing in their hearts for salvation and deliverance. The tension that enveloped the square seemed to press down on them all, a tangible force that threatened to crush the will of any lesser beings. Yet, Adams remained unyielding, his expression unwavering. Every fiber of his being radiated a determination born from years of fighting for survival, not just for himself but for the future of humankind. He knew that surrender was not an option. To bow before the Bajoran overlords would be to consign humanity to a fate worse than extinction. It would mean the loss of everything they held dear, their freedom, their identity, their very soul. As Fenris's words lingered in the air, Adams surveyed his surroundings, taking in the faces of his comrades and the civilians looking on. In their eyes, he saw reflected his own defiance, his own desperate hope. He knew that this moment, this fragile equilibrium, could shatter at any instant, plummeting them into the maelstrom of war. And yet, there was no other path to take. The resolve of the human spirit was a force unto itself, and Adams knew that as long as it burned brightly, there was still a chance for victory. Underneath the surface tension, intricate societal dynamics played out silently. The Bajorans, with their reptilian authority, believed in their genetic and technological superiority, often underestimating the resourcefulness of humans. They saw themselves as the inevitable rulers of the galaxy, their empire a testament to the survival of the fittest. The humans, on the other hand, were driven by an unwavering belief in freedom and self-determination, values that the Bajorans found amusingly naive. It was this fundamental clash of ideologies that fueled the conflict, making it more than just a battle for territory. It was a struggle for the right to exist on their terms, free from tyranny. The Bajorans' advanced technology and military might made them a formidable adversary, but it was their arrogance that was often their downfall. Commander Fenris, for all his tactical brilliance, could not fathom the depths of human innovation and resilience. This blind spot in the Bajoran psyche had been exploited before and would be a key factor in the unfolding events. The humans had learned to adapt, using the Bajorans' own arrogance against them. Their apparent disorganization and primitive technology were often a facade, concealing a sophisticated understanding of guerrilla tactics and technological ingenuity. Every skirmish, every small victory, was a carefully calculated move in a larger strategy that remained hidden, even from their own troops. As the menacing threat from Fenris hung thick in the air, Commander Greg Adams stood tall and unyielding, his piercing blue eyes locking onto each reptilian adversary before him. There wasn't a single trace of fear or despair in his steel-like gaze. Although the humans appeared outmatched and overwhelmed, a hidden ace remained up their sleeves, their unseen strength. Deep within their ranks, cloaked by the facade of a ragtag army, lay advanced human technology that so starkly contrasted their battered and worn appearance. Underneath the tattered uniforms and manual weaponry, state-of-the-art cloaking devices, laser rifles, and plasma cannons were concealed, waiting for the precise moment to unleash their destructive potential. In an orchestrated symphony, Adams signaled to his subordinates, triggering a series of haptic commands that awakened their latent arsenal. Suddenly, the previously silent human defenses roared to life. Bursts of intense laser fire and high-ion plasma shots perforated the already tense atmosphere, striking with pinpoint accuracy at the Bajoran ranks. Emanating from seemingly inconspicuous sources, the ferocity and potency of the human weaponry were nothing short of stunning. Each blast was met with the anguished cries of Bajoran soldiers as their advanced bio-armor failed to repel the unexpected onslaught. The cityscape of Loia transformed into a war zone, with searing beams cutting through the air and explosions reverberating between crumbling buildings and smoldering ruins. Fenris, the Bajoran commander, who had previously stood with a predator's gaze, now found his expression twisted with disbelief and rage. His golden eyes, which moments ago brimmed with arrogance, now flickered with dismay as he scrambled to understand how these humans, whom he had deemed primitive, managed to wield such devastating technology. The city erupted into a spectacle of chaos. An eerie, yet strangely beautiful kaleidoscope of energy beams and plasma lit up the sky against a backdrop of the setting twin suns. The ground trembled underfoot, as metallic groans heralded the collapse of structures and the shattering of glass. Bajoran soldiers who once marched with unwavering confidence now scattered like leaves in a tempest, their ordered formations disrupted by the relentless tide of human firepower. Commander Greg Adams moved with the fluidity and assurance befitting a seasoned leader. Through the comms, he directed his forces, demonstrating strategic mastery and precision. He coordinated the use of hidden bunkers and underground passages that allowed human troops to execute surprise maneuvers, striking the Bajorans from unexpected angles. The humans' technology was not their only advantage. Their sheer resolve stunned the Bajorans, who had underestimated the lengths to which humanity would go to defend their home. The human fighters exhibited unwavering bravery, pressing forward despite the overwhelming odds. Their determination was so palpable it seemed to resonate through the air, an invisible force that propelled them to fight on. Even with their cloaking technology and advanced weaponry, the humans faced moments of great peril. Close encounters with Bajoran laser blasts left many wounded and battered. Yet, the lifeblood of their spirit surged stronger with each fallen comrade, propelling them to fight with even greater fervor. Adams moved among his troops, treating wounds, offering encouragement, and embodying the indomitable spirit of the human fight. One of Adams' key lieutenants, Lieutenant Mara Voss, a sharp-witted engineer with a knack for improvisation, played a crucial role in calibrating the new weaponry under battlefield conditions. Voss, with her short, auburn hair plastered to her forehead by sweat and grime, moved deftly amidst the chaos, her quick calculations and technical expertise maximizing the effectiveness of their surprise assault. Her actions turned the tide several times, her modifications enhancing both the range and power of their cloaked arsenal. As the battle raged on, the cruelty and brutality of war became painfully evident. The once bustling streets of Loia, now reduced to a theater of sardonic conflict, stood as silent witnesses to the countless acts of heroism and sacrifice. Adams and his soldiers pressed their advantage, driving the Bajoran forces back block by block, even as they grieved the loss of friends and comrades amidst the devastation. The air above crackled with the energy of the opposing forces, the shimmering aftereffects of their weapon discharges creating an almost surreal tapestry. Bodies, both human and Bajoran, lay strewn across the terrain, the stark reminder of the devastating toll of their confrontation. Adams knew that victory came at a heavy cost, and every fallen companion only steeled his resolve to see the battle through to its end. Fenris, from his vantage point, observed the decimation of his once formidable ranks. The humans' unexpected ferocity and technological prowess had caught him off guard, and his scaly visage twisted in a mix of rage and frustration. A tactical retreat was ordered, and the few Bajoran soldiers who could still follow commands began to fall back under the relentless human assault. The once gleaming Bajoran war machines, symbols of their unchallenged dominance, now lay disabled or destroyed, their metal husks testament to the humans' unyielding resistance. Even as they retreated, Bajoran soldiers unleashed desperate bursts of counter-fire, hoping to outmaneuver the advancing humans. However, with the precision and strategy Adams had at his disposal, their attempts were rendered futile. The battle reached its crescendo with a deafening clash as the Bajoran command structure faltered. Screams of defiance, cries of agony, and the relentless cacophony of warfare filled the air, but within that turmoil, human victory became more tangible. Fenris, his pride and confidence shattered, withdrew to reassess and contemplate the unexpected strength of his adversaries. The city of Loia, though heavily scarred by the conflict, stood as a monument to human tenacity and ingenuity. Amidst the wreckage, Adams and his forces began to fortify their newfound advantage. Through makeshift repairs and essential rest, the humans prepared for the inevitability of the Bajorans' next move, their newfound strength paving the way for what lay ahead in their struggle for survival against a technologically superior foe. The battle for Loia was just the beginning. Hidden strengths, unwavering spirit, and advanced strategies were all part of the larger tapestry of humanity's fight for freedom against the Bajoran overlords. The exquisite blend of bravery and technological prowess had proven to be a formidable combination, but whether it would be enough to sustain their hope in the long fight ahead remained an open question, fraught with uncertainty, but also boundless possibility. The repercussions of the humans' unexpected counterstrike reverberated throughout the Bajoran ranks like a thunderclap, shaking the foundations of their seemingly unassailable dominance. Commander Fenris, his eyes burning with a mix of rage and disbelief, rallied his battered troops, the guttural commands echoing like distant thunder. The advantage he thought he held had melted away like morning dew under the harsh glare of reality. Now, desperate times called for desperate measures. High above Loia, in the inky blackness of space, the Bajoran orbital fleet received the chillingly desperate directive: commence orbital bombardment. There was no hesitation. Massive, gilded hulls of the Bajoran cruisers pivoted, aligning their colossal weapons toward the unsuspecting planet below. The silence of the void was shattered by the low, otherworldly hum of charging cannons, an ominous prelude to the devastation about to be unleashed. On the ground, the first signs of the impending bombardment were felt as a subtle trembling beneath the feet of the defenders. It soon escalated into roaring tremors, a terrifying crescendo of violence that clawed at the very core of Loia. Buildings, once architectural marvels, were reduced to smoking ruins by an unrelenting rain of energy blasts. The sky itself seemed to catch fire, a crimson inferno painting the heavens as the Bajoran weapons exacted a brutal toll. Commander Adams, ever the pillar of unyielding determination, barked orders amidst the chaos. The human forces, though vastly outnumbered and surrounded by a nightmare of destruction, responded with a disciplined ferocity. Their hidden technology, a sophisticated web of cloaked weaponry and underground sanctuaries, turned the tide, however slightly, in their favor. Adams orchestrated a masterful retreat into their subterranean networks, illuminated by bursts of holographic displays and the eerie green glow of chemical lights. Within the twisting maze of tunnels and bunkers, humanity's defiance took root. The metallic clang of hurried repairs and the staccato rhythm of boots on steel created a symphony of survival. Every corner, every narrow passage, held stories of courage: engineers frantically recalibrating weaponry, medics laboring over the wounded under harsh, flickering light, and soldiers preparing with grim resolve. Here, in this underworld of churning emotions and raw humanity, the spirit of resistance crystallized. As the bombardment above ceased, a deadly calm settled. The humans, bloodied but far from broken, emerged from their havens, their faces set in unyielding determination. The cityscape that greeted them was a shattered version of its former self, an expanse of collapsed structures and smoldering wreckage. Among the ruins, the Bajorans' corpses lay scattered, victims of their leader's ruthless gambit. It was a Pyrrhic victory, one where the line between victor and vanquished blurred into the acrid smoke that filled the air. Commander Fenris, though temporarily halted, remained a dangerous adversary. He knew his decisions had ignited a fire that even his vast armadas might struggle to quell. However, the depths of Bajoran pride and the imperial doctrine of dominance could not concede so easily. From his command post aboard the Bahamut, a towering dreadnought, he plotted his next move. The ship, a leviathan of curved metals and bristling armaments, stood as a monument to the Bajorans' warlike prowess and indomitable will. The story that unfolded in the vacuum of space mirrored the desperate struggle below. Bajoran commanders, locked in heated tactical debates, faced the chilling reality that all their calculations had failed to account for one variable: the indomitable human spirit. Their technological superiority, their vast fleets, all were rendered moot against the raw, unyielding tenacity of their foes. Amidst the swirling chaos, a profound ethical dilemma took shape. Fenris, caught between his duty to the Empire and the horrifying consequences of his orders, grappled with the role he played in the carnage. The stark contrast between the empathy for his troops and the cold logic of his commands gnawed at him, a silent torment that echoed the human struggle against the annihilating forces of oppression. This was no longer a battle merely for dominance. It was a clash of existential ideals, of one species' survivalism against another's imperialistic drive. The battlefield of Loia had become a crucible for these competing values, allies forming, not out of mutual benefit, but out of an unspoken understanding of shared mortality. The ruins of Loia, bathed in the red light of a setting sun and the fading embers of bombardment, bore silent witness to a confrontation that transcended mere physical combat. Here, the spirit of resistance met the cold calculus of domination, engendering a conflict that delved deeper than the war-torn streets and devastated landscapes. The human forces, invigorated by their precarious success, turned their eyes skyward. Above them hung the shimmering expanse of the cosmos, a reminder of both their insignificance and their boundless potential. They had weathered the storm, but the true tempest loomed large in the form of Bajoran dreadnoughts and the convulsing political machinations of an empire unwilling to concede defeat. Captain Alvarez, aboard the formidable Titan, received the distress signals and sensor readings from the surface. The data painted a grim picture, one of decimation and relentless Bajoran fury. The Titan, with its sleek lines and imposing weaponry, plotted a course toward Loia, defying the swarm of Bajoran ships. Alvarez knew the stakes. This wasn't just a rescue mission, it was a testament to human resilience, a rallying call for every soul that stood against Bajoran tyranny. The starship's arrival into the fray was like a spear of justice thrust into the heart of darkness. The first sight of the Titan, with its imposing silhouette backlit by starlight, rekindled hope amongst the beleaguered defenders. The Bajoran ships, shocked by the sudden appearance of such a formidable adversary, scrambled to respond, but their disarray was apparent. Alvarez wasted no time. The Titan's main cannons discharged with surgical precision, tearing through the void with the fury of 1,000 storms. Those aboard the Titan worked with a tireless energy fueled by the urgency of their mission. Tactical displays lit up with the positions of enemy ships, strategies were discussed in rapid-fire exchanges, and the hum of the starship's engines provided a constant backdrop to the controlled chaos of a spaceship at war. It wasn't just advanced technology that made the Titan formidable, it was the unwavering resolve of its crew, a microcosm of humanity's unbreakable spirit. As the Titan's volleys decimated the Bajoran blockade, a new sense of purpose galvanized the human troops on Loia. The clash on the ground intensified, the nightmarish landscape echoing with the screams of battle and the thunder of weaponry. Tension gripped the air like an electric charge as the aftermath of the bombardment settled into a grim silence. The city of Loia, once a symbol of civil resistance and hope, now lay in ruins, smoldering as pockets of fire blazed amid the shattered infrastructure. Dust clouded the air, mixing with the acrid scent of burning metal and charred earth. The once pristine marble avenues were strewn with the debris of fallen buildings and the remnants of the Bajoran mechanized assault. The human forces, led by the resilient commander Greg Adams, struggled to regroup amid the chaos. Above, in the blackness of space, a shimmering distortion rippled. The tear transformed into a flash of blinding light, revealing the human starship Titan, a colossus of war and hope. Commanded by Captain Alvarez, the Titan was the epitome of human ingenuity and technological prowess. Its gray, angular hull was adorned with sleek, deadly weapons, bristling with anticipation. The ship seemed to pulse with primordial energy, its thrusters glowing a fierce blue as it propelled forward with surgical precision. Alvarez studied the various holographic displays with intense focus. The information streamed across the screens in a flurry of muted colors and complex symbols. The crew, a mix of battle-hardened veterans and keen-eyed strategists, worked with relentless efficiency. Their movements were swift and precise, honed by countless simulations and real combat scenarios. The bridge of the Titan hummed with a purposeful energy, a sharp contrast to the destruction below. "Target the Bajoran fleet," Alvarez commanded, her voice unwavering. Her presence was as formidable as the ship she commanded, with eyes sharp as daggers and a demeanor carved from steel. "Let's send them a message they won't forget." The Titan's weapons systems locked onto the Bajoran warships with deadly accuracy. Plasma cannons charged, emitting a low, resonant hum that seemed to vibrate through the hull. The ship itself seemed to take a breath before launching its barrage, a storm of green and blue plasma bolts cutting through the void like arrows from a mythic bow. The Bajoran fleet, which had once loomed menacingly over Loia, was caught off guard. Their shields flickered and failed under the relentless assault, and within moments, the once feared warships were reduced to drifting wrecks. Flames licked at their hulls as they floated lifelessly, casting a somber, spectral glow against the backdrop of space. On the ground, Adams and his forces witnessed the celestial display with renewed vigor. The arrival of the Titan reinvigorated the weary soldiers, turning their despair into fierce resolve. The ground assault, which had teetered on the brink of collapse under the weight of the bombardment, now surged forth with a renewed sense of purpose. Troopers regrouped, their movements becoming more coordinated as they pushed back against the scattered Bajoran remnants. "The Titan is here," Adams shouted over the din of battle, his voice a beacon amid the chaos. His soldiers responded with fervent cheers, rallying around him as they pushed forward. The Bajoran forces, disoriented and demoralized by their shattered fleet, faltered. Those once confident in their superior numbers and advanced weaponry began to retreat before the relentless human assault. Vessels of the Titan released auxiliary fighter crafts, nimble and deadly, that zipped through the lower atmosphere to provide air support. These smaller ships dodged and weaved with unparalleled agility, their lasers slicing through Bajoran ground units and armor. The skies now belonged to humanity, a domain that reflected their undying spirit and newfound dominance. In the heart of downtown Loia, the humans' adaptive accumulation of intelligence led them to exploit every available cover, darting from ruined buildings to shattered transport vehicles. Makeshift barricades became impromptu command posts. Narrow alleys and previously fortified offices offered both refuge and vantage points. Commanders barked orders, medics attended to the injured with portable medical pods, and engineers tinkered with compromised tech to keep the front lines fortified. It was a chaotic symphony of survival, orchestrated to a rhythm known only to those clinging to their last vestiges of hope. Adams, assessing the situation, knew they needed to maintain their momentum. Time was of the essence. "Secure the streets and establish a perimeter," he ordered. Squad leaders passed the commands down their ranks, and like a well-oiled machine, the human forces spread out to consolidate their hard-fought gains. They secured strategic points, established defensive lines, and ensured that no Bajoran resurgence could threaten their precarious hold on the city. The Titan's presence above was both a shield and a sword. It sent down periodic bombardments onto Bajoran positions that required it, each strike precise and devastating. Orbital bombardment was achieved through an array of advanced targeting systems and collaborative geosatellites, ensuring minimal collateral damage to human-occupied zones. The Bajorans were now caught in a pincer movement, assailed from both above and below. Meanwhile, global communications systems hummed back to life, restored by Alvarez's crew aboard the Titan. The once fragile civilian resistance network transformed into a robust communication grid, linking the scattered human enclaves into a resilient web. Messages of hope and coordination flowed like lifeblood through the channels. Humans around the planet, once isolated and besieged, now felt the galvanizing force of a united front. But this moment of reformation and reunion was shadowed by the costly price of war. In makeshift infirmaries, hastily erected under partially collapsed infrastructure, medics worked tirelessly. Emirigen-infused nanites were released into wounds to accelerate healing, while biofeedback monitors tracked vital statistics in real time. The low hum of medical machinery and the soft beep of monitors provided a stark contrast to the screams of the injured. The smell of antiseptic mixed with the metallic scent of blood, an olfactory testament to the brutal battle fought on Loia's streets. All the while, Captain Alvarez received updates from the surface, her tone laced with both pride and sorrow as casualty reports flowed in. The Titan had served its purpose in turning the tide, but it was the boots on the ground, those brave souls led by Adams, that paid the ultimate price. Their sacrifice was the linchpin of humanity's strategy, securing not just a tactical victory, but a triumph of spirit. General Fenris, the Bajoran commander still stationed at an ad hoc control base deep within the city's ruins, watched the dire turn of events unfold on his holo displays. His usual confidence was now replaced by a mask of grim determination. The Bajoran command structure was crumbling, riddled with fear and uncertainty. Reports of desertions echoed through their encrypted channels, leaders critically injured or dead, and troops on the verge of fleeing. Fenris had always believed in the Bajoran philosophy of superiority and domination. Their reptilian scales, dense and impervious to most attacks, were symbols of their alleged evolutionary supremacy. The battle-worn streets of Loia witnessed the final Bajoran surrender. Fenris, realizing the futility of further conflict, offered a truce, but the humans, wary of treachery, kept a vigilant eye. As the last pockets of resistance were purged, an eerie calm settled over Loia. With their victory secured, humanity marked a new chapter in their saga. No longer the oppressed underdogs, they stood united, ready to confront any threats to their newly claimed freedom. The ruins of Loia whispered tales of valor and sacrifice, echoing a promise of a future where humanity would no longer bow to tyrannical alien forces. Victory and vigilance. The battle for Loia had been nothing short of cataclysmic. As the sun dipped beyond the desolate horizon, casting long, melancholic shadows over the war-ravaged city, the final Bajoran forces surrendered. Pockets of smoke still rose from the scorched earth, mingling with the acrid smell of destruction and the quiet murmur of surviving humans and aliens alike. The ebb and flow of the bloody melee had distilled into a tense peace, a fragile and delicate cessation of hostilities. Fenris, the once mighty commander of the Bajoran forces, his pride now shattered, knelt before Commander Greg Adams. Echoes of the intense conflict still etched into his weary expression. He extended an olive branch, a truce, but Adams' hardened features betrayed a deep-seated wariness. The humans had learned through bitter experience that trust was a dangerous commodity. "Commander Adams," Fenris began, his voice a strained rasp, a shadow of its former regal boom. "We wish to lay down our arms. No more bloodshed. Let us negotiate peace." Adams looked down at Fenris, his eyes steely and discerning every iota of the Bajorans' intent. For too many cycles, the humans had been used as pawns in the Bajorans' grand game, torn between hope and despair, their lives expendable. This time, Adams would ensure the terms were different. The human soldiers, standing vigilant, held their weapons at the ready. Pinnacles of resolve and defiance, their spirits emboldened by the recent, hard-won victories. They had seen friends and family fall, and their unyielding stance now was a testament to their devotion to humanity's newfound freedom. "Your surrender," Adams demanded with a voice that resonated. "Authority and resilience must come with conditions. Unconditional cessation of all hostilities, the complete withdrawal of Bajoran forces from all human territories, and reparations for the lives and resources lost." The city, once a bustling metropolis of culture and commerce, was now a haunting testament to mutual destruction. The towering structures that had once symbolized human achievement now stood as jagged tombstones in the skyline. In the quiet aftermath of battle, these ruins bore silent witness to the valor and sacrifice of those who had defended them. Among the rubble-strewn streets, groups of weary but determined survivors began to emerge, tending to the wounded, unearthing remnants of their shattered lives. The city's poignancy lay in the whispers of liberation, a poignant reminder of the heavy price paid for their freedom. Amid this tense atmosphere, Captain Alvarez stood aboard the command deck of the starship Titan, which loomed like a guardian angel above the planetary remnants. Through the vast viewport, Alvarez surveyed the scene, every inch the steadfast leader, knowing the enormity of what the humans had achieved. They had faced a technologically superior foe and emerged victorious, not through sheer might alone, but through a unity and indomitable spirit that no alien overlord could comprehend. The Titan had played a crucial role in turning the tide of the conflict, its advanced weaponry and strategic firepower dismantling the Bajoran fleet with surgical precision. Now, as the survivors below began the arduous task of rebuilding, the Titan remained a watchful sentinel, a symbol of hope and a reminder of the power the humans could wield when united. In the days that followed, a council was formed to solidify the terms of surrender and ensure a lasting peace. The Baxters, a family that had fought valiantly during the conflict, represented the civilians' interests. Julian and Clara Baxter, both resilient and pragmatic, embodied the human spirit's unyielding hope for the future. Their son, Max, who had shown remarkable ingenuity in the face of adversity, became a symbol of the next generation, one that would grow up free from the Bajoran yoke. Reconstruction efforts began almost immediately. Engineers and architects, inspired by their newfound freedom, set to work. Innovative plans were drawn to rebuild Loia not as a city scarred by war, but as a beacon of human resilience and ingenuity. The advanced technology that had once been hidden in secret was now openly employed to speed up reconstruction, from energy-efficient power sources to advanced medical facilities for the wounded. The surviving Bajoran forces, demoralized and leaderless, became a subject of intense scrutiny. It was Gazan, a former Bajoran tactician who had defected to the humans before the final confrontation, who offered valuable insights into their hierarchical disarray. His knowledge facilitated smoother negotiations, and his allegiance was instrumental in ensuring the Bajorans' compliance with the terms set forth by Commander Adams. Even as order slowly returned, the specter of future conflicts loomed. Humanity had tasted victory, but the galaxy was vast and teeming with countless other species and empires, each with their ambitions and designs. Commander Adams and Captain Alvarez both understood that vigilance would be paramount. The lesson of Loia was clear: Peace was precious but precarious. The Titan's continuous patrols and the establishment of space relay stations served as early warning systems across human territories, a safeguard against any future aggressions. Meanwhile, deep within the frontier areas of human-controlled space, research stations worked tirelessly to reverse engineer and adapt the advanced Bajoran technology. Scientists like Dr. Eleanor Fields, whose expertise in xenotechnology had been indispensable during the conflict, pushed the boundaries of human innovation. Fields and her team unleashed an unprecedented era of technological advancement, from enhanced starship engines capable of faster-than-light travel to revolutionary agricultural techniques that promised to end hunger on human colonies. The Bajoran Reclamation Act, a cornerstone of the new human administration, stipulated that former Bajoran territories won in battle be used for the betterment of the survivors. Plans were drawn to colonize these regions, and exploratory missions were dispatched to assess the viability of settlements. The act also mandated environmental restoration, ensuring that the scars of war would eventually heal. Culturally, the arts began to flourish anew. War stories, passed down from generation to generation, found their way into literature, music, and film. The harrowing experiences of families like the Baxters became the foundation for epic tales that inspired and united humanity. The narrative of resistance, valor, and triumph was celebrated, fostering a collective identity rooted in resilience. If you liked this story based on real events, subscribe to our channel and don't forget to like it. Here you can dive into a different reality every day, where anything can happen. Comment below what kind of story you would like to hear here. Thank you very much for your attention. We are the Sci-Fi family.